Happy Wednesday, everybody. Thank you so much for downloading or streaming the Be Our Guest podcast. Well, he's back. We have a special co-host today and all of this week. It's Simon from the UK. That's right. We're going to have some fun answering your questions today, and we get some great questions. How about too much Palo on an upcoming Disney fantasy cruise? Is that possible? We have this discussion for a listener. We also have a great call-in question from Kevin out in Ohio about taking breaks every other day, but working that out with Magic Your Way tickets. It's harder than you think. There was a lot of number crunching on this call, so we talk about that. Also, Mohawk calls in from over in Scotland as we had the phone lines open, and we talk about medium fancy dining options and fireworks combinations for his upcoming trip to Walt Disney World. This and much more coming your way on today's show. Don't forget, our show is always brought to you by the best in the business, the Magic for Less Travel. We're standing by to help you plan a great Disney adventure for this no cost to you. That's the best part, no cost to you. Check out all the details right now over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. That one extra click supports everything we do throughout the year. beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so very much for your support on Patreon. Our Patreon supporters are the lifeblood of our show. You can support us as well. Just $5 a month is all it costs, and you'll get a bonus show every week. It's called Mike in the Midwest, and it's pretty fun, so check it out. Come on over, join us, patreon.com/beourguestpodcast.
Ready to take a trip to the world? You found the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. This is where your memories come front and center on our podcast stage.
Welcome to episode 2511 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from beourguestpodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Wednesday to you. Hope you're having a great week, and we're going to have a good time today answering your listener questions because it is midweek. But hey, today's going to be a lot different. So stand by because, well, if you know, Pam is in, she's in the Appalachians. She's in the Adirondacks. She's up in Tennessee at a wedding this week, so she's unavailable. Scotty, if you're over in the Discord at the Be Our Guest Podcast Clubhouse, he has become a Viking. He is one with the Norwegians, drinking his pints, watching soccer with like in the clubs. I mean, he is he's all bundled up. He's living his best life, man. You got to look at the selfies over in the Discord, beourguestpodcast.com/Discord. Check it out. He's updating hourly. He's really messed up though, because apparently the sun has not gone down on him like Elton John and George Michael. The sun is not going down on this dude, and he is texting me at all hours of the day, and I love it. I mean, he's got his comfort, like Elizabeth has the comforter from the bed on the balcony, and they're watching the sunrise, the sunset. I can't tell which one is which because the hours are so different where we are in the world. Living his best life, so he's obviously not here. Ricky, her husband's out of town, so she couldn't join us this week. So we have a guest co-host, and we're gonna answer your listener questions, but we're gonna do this with the phone lines open at 407-413-9395. So when we have the phone lines open, we have the house band. So here we go. We got to have the house band like a Sunday night.
Yeah.
So we're bringing them in. So I got to have this to introduce my co-host live from the United Kingdom. And he is a legend. And I don't know if it's because of his son who sticks out his belly. I think it's at the Pop Century pool. I don't know. It's at a pool around Walt Disney World, Sully. But tonight, joining us from the UK to answer your listener questions. We're going to have a great time. Your friend and mine, Simon, joining us. Return trip here. He's going to be here with us on Friday as well. So Simon, thanks for coming on the show again with us today. We're glad to have you. So welcome to the show. Let's do some questions.
Glad to be
What's
here,
up?
Mike. What an intro. I mean,
we're having fun.
I feel like I'm on like Saturday Night Live or something. Like it's crazy.
Hey, I mean, you know what? The other three are away. Let's play. Let's have some fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was following along with Scott and the Discord on that Norway trip, and man, it's beautiful out there for sure. But I'm here. I'm ready to talk some Disney. I've been away a bit myself, but I'm back. So let's get stuck in, Mike. Let's have some fun. But you know, I think you're right. Sully is definitely the Paul, right? He's the one everybody wants. It's like, you're waiting for the star player to come out, and it's like, oh, he's not ready yet. We'll send out the sub. That's me. I'm here.
That's a story of my life too. I have two daughters, and I'm just kind of the cheer dad that pays the bills. But that's my lot in life, and I'm fine with that. So we're good. That's just how it is. All right, so we have a question. Like I said, Kevin, my good buddy over in the Discord, he's had a question. Like, Mike, you can't answer my question. You keep forgetting, and I apologize. I have forgotten to hit this one in the inbox because it got kind of buried each week, and we're gonna hit this one right off the top. So Kevin says, I have a trip planning question for the show. Next year, he'd like to stay at Walt Disney World for 2 weeks. Ideally, he'd like to go to a park every other day. He says, I know that when you buy your tickets, though, Disney asks which days you're going to go to the parks. In other words, if you buy a 4-day ticket, don't you have to use it in 1 week? If so, how can I make my plan work? Thanks, Kevin. Okay, so I don't know if you've used your tickets recently, and I know UK tickets are different, so it's going to be kind of interesting for you. But the tickets that we buy here in the States, and I know Kevin's out in Ohio, is that our Magic Your Way tickets, you get basically what I like to call like a plus 2 days to use your ticket. So if you buy a 7-day Magic Your Way Park Hopper ticket, you have 9 days from first use to use that ticket. So it is going to be kind of a challenge. So if he wants to go for 2 weeks, he's going to have to buy his ticket and use it within, so if he buys a 9-day ticket, he's going to have to use it within 11 days, which makes it kind of a challenge to do the 2-week thing. Now, what he can do is buy a Park Hopper a Park Hopper Plus and use like water parks to supplement. That would be his best option there. I don't know. What does it look like for you guys though? Because you guys have that 14-day ticket over there in the UK, which I'm not familiar with because we can't sell it as travel agents.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a very similar concept to what you were just saying. So our 14-day ticket is actually good for 18 days. So that gives us 4 days in those 14 extra as buffer days. So, similar to what Kevin's saying is we like to have a few days in the parks, take a rest day. And instead of feeling like you've wasted that day, you've lost that day on the ticket, it doesn't matter because you've got those buffer days. And, we'll put in like a water park and, go Disney Springs, that sort of thing. So very much in the same way, but as it's just longer, because it makes most sense for us most of the time to have that 2-week ticket, but it's good for 18 days, which is good for us because we like to stay a few extra days as well. So I think you're right. I mean, he's probably going to have to buy 2 of the. Again, I'm not familiar with exactly how your tickets are or what they look like, but assuming that a 4-day is the longest day one you can have, I don't know if that is right or not. You would then need, I guess, 2 or 3 of those.
Well, so, he could buy so we can buy 10-day tickets. That's our maximum. Okay. So he could buy a 10-day ticket. And really, it becomes, with our tickets, because we have Magic Your Way tickets, it becomes really economical to add days on once you hit day 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. They're very inexpensive to add days on to your tickets at that point. They really front load the cost from like days 1 through 5. They're more expensive there. Once you add day 6, day 7, it's like few dollars per day,
and that's like smart business sense, right? Mm-hmm. Because to them, most people are just going to come for 2, 3, 4 days. So it's a bit like what they do in Paris. They do exactly the same thing in Paris. The most you can get is a 4-day ticket if you want to go beyond 4 days, and they don't have any buffer days. So if you want to go beyond 4 days with them, it's tough. You just have to buy extra days, but they don't discount it. It's full cost. So that there's no real incentive to buy in additional 1 days. You would then go to buy in another 4-day because that would be the cheapest way to do it. So
yeah,
I like your system though, just being able to add 1 day at a reduced cost. That's great.
Yeah, so here you got to start over basically at day 1 after day 10. So you want to avoid that at all costs, So what I would say is just do the 10-day ticket. And then, just go into the parks for 10 days and find things to do for those other 4 days. You could spend a day at the boardwalk and play mini golf if you want, or just visit the other resorts, and like I say, supplement with water parks for 2 or 3 days, and you have 2 weeks and you've taken advantage of a 10-day ticket, which is available here in the States.
With that 10-day ticket then, Mike, would you have any additional buffer days in there that they grant you, or is it 10 days and you use 10 days or you don't?
You would have 12 because you get
Okay.
10 plus 2. So you'd have 12 days to use it and you could fill in. Yeah, that's
Excellent. That is definitely the way to go.
Yep, from first use. So that is kind of interesting because how the tickets are different from you guys getting them over in the UK, your 14-day, and we get. I don't know why they do that. I mean, I understand that you guys come over for longer because of the length of travel and the cost associated with traveling from such a distance, but I also don't understand why they wouldn't sell those to the United States market, other than maybe they just want us to buy. I don't know. Like, do they not want us to stay for 2 weeks? I mean, it seems like, I don't know why they wouldn't want us to.
I don't know. I guess there's some guy who's far smarter than us with numbers sitting in an office somewhere who knows why it makes sense, right? They must look at the average travel of, someone from the UK or abroad and say, okay, well, they're coming for sort of 2 weeks. How can they encourage us to spend all of that time in Disney rather than maybe splitting that up between Disney and Universal or Disney and SeaWorld? Maybe that's why, because if we're coming for 2 weeks, they know they've got 2 weeks to, I don't know, grab our attention for as long as possible, and doing a ticket that covers the whole time would certainly do that.
I guess that makes sense. All right. So now, do you sail Disney Cruise Line ever? I haven't asked you that.
No, so I've never sailed Disney Cruise Line, but I have sailed and worked on P&O, Celebrity, so a lot of cruise lines. I've actually been on the trip that Scott is on now, but working. So
really,
yeah, I have the exact trip. So I sing on the ship, so I'll fly out and be on a ship for a week and sing a couple of nights in that week with the group that I'm in. And so when he's in Stavanger, I was like, oh, you need to search for this. There's like a giant statue of a turtle. And I was telling him, like, you need to go find it, but I don't know whether he found it or not. But yeah, it's beautiful. Where he is right now is beautiful. But no, Disney Cruise Line is a bit of a bucket list for us. We've not got there yet, but I'm sure we're going to make it happen soon.
I'm sure Scott is going to sing on this cruise. Now, he's not going to sing professionally or definitely not get paid, but
he's going to find karaoke though, right?
Oh, for sure. I'm sure he's singing on this cruise. Okay, so we're going to answer this question. It's a Disney Cruise Line question, but I mean, you could. Oh, well, hey, you know what? We got a call coming in. I forgot to mute the phone line, so you can't hide it. So here we go. Let's take the call, and then we'll get to the Disney fantasy question because I'll be on the fantasy in just a week, so I want to talk about that. But let's get the call. I mean, that's why the phone lines are here. Hey, who's joining us?
Hey, Mike. It's Graham from Scotland, but you might know me as Mohawk Scotland from the Discord.
I love it. Thanks for calling in, buddy.
Hey, Simon.
It's Graham, right? Because I always call you Mohawk because I just think that's the coolest thing ever, and I'm always going to call you that because this jams. But
Mohawk's fine, yeah.
I love it. Thanks for calling in, buddy. I appreciate it.
I think we stick with Mohawk.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I love it. That's awesome. Thanks for calling.
No worries. So I'm 481 days out from my next trip to the Magic, but as most people who are Disney mad have started planning my advanced dining reservations already, but I have a question. When I'm going to be there next year, it's going to be my 40th birthday year and my wife's 40th birthday year as well. So we're looking for a really nice restaurant, but not too fancy because we don't really do fancy food. We prefer more straightforward. So I was wondering if you guys had any kind of tips about where we could go, maybe somewhere that we can see the fireworks afterwards as well.
Well, I'll give that to Simon first. What do you think?
Do you know what? I'm gonna jump in with something I was thinking about today because they've been talking about the Fantasmic dinner package recently. We're very similar to you, Mohawk, that we like nice food and nice meals and stuff, but as we've got the kids, it gets harder to do those really fancy dinners, right? So on our last trip, we went to Mama Melrose. Now, we'd never been there before. And I guess opinion differs based on what your taste is, but very Italian, really nice date night. The decor in there is beautiful. Like the theming is really, really good. We had like a big jug of sangria and 3-course dinner, and the food was beautiful. The music, the atmosphere. So I think you get that really nice sort of celebration date night mode. But then because we did the Fantasmic dining package, we then had pretty much guaranteed best seats in the house for Fantasmic afterwards. So I would think as something not, typically go to Magic Kingdom or whatever, that is something I would suggest to look into because we loved that. And even though the kids were there, we really got that feel of this feels a bit special to us.
Yeah, because obviously everyone thinks of Magic Kingdom as being the main one, but maybe the Fantasmic ones sort of slip under the radar a little bit. That's a really good shout. What about you, Mike?
You know, I was kind of in that same area too. When you're thinking of a nice, good meal, and it's funny because I'm thinking Italian food as well. And I was having this conversation with my wife last night because her mom and sisters are going down right before us. They're going on the Wish, we're going on the Fantasy, and we're kind of overlapping. We're going to be there at the same time. And my wife, one of her favorite restaurants is Trattoria Al Forno, which is on the boardwalk, which is another really good meal. But it's not super fancy, but it's fancy enough for us. Because when you describe that, that's us. We don't like super fancy, but we like a good meal. And we love the food there. The food there is really good. It's comfortable. It's fancy enough for us. It's not, it's not Victorian Albert's. It's not Citricos. It's not Narcoossee's. It's just right for us. And you could be able to easily walk over to Epcot or to the studios, see Fantasmic, or to see Luminous, whichever one. It pairs well. And there's a lot of entertainment on the boardwalk too, so you could do either one of those. And that's kind of a good night there. And it's right down the middle as far as your expense. So is Mama Melrose. I am a huge fan of that place. That's a sleeper hit. I eat there every night before the marathon. And I love that restaurant.
We found it for the first time on our last trip.
Sorry, Simon, go on.
I was just saying we found it for the first time on our last trip. And we were really surprised by how much we enjoyed it. And when we got in there, you almost it sounds crazy, but we almost forgot we were in the park because the atmosphere really sort of enveloped you. It was lovely. It really was.
It's not really been one on my radar at all. I think it sort of gets forgotten about as one of the Hollywood studios. But obviously you think of sci-fi, dine-in theatre, you think of 50s prime time, and the Brown Derby is the sort of three majorish ones that everyone thinks of. But Mama Melrose, I'm really going to have a look at that. That's been really helpful, guys. Thank you. Quick question about rubber chickens and Adventureland.
I love you. That's why I love our family, man. You guys, tell me that guy didn't have me, because you were here last night. That guy had me go, man, he had me on the hook for the first one, I was like, maybe. And the second one, I'm like, no. And the third one, we started talking about the posters on Space Mountain. I'm like, okay, dude, you're gone. I'm like, you're out of here, Phil. I had to tell my wife.
I know this podcast is going to land before Thursday's one, but really, guys, you have to have a listen to it on Thursday.
Yeah, listen to Mike get got, because I got. Real quick, over on Instagram, Skyliner Story says, another suggestion, and I agree, this is a good one too, Kona Cafe, and you could watch the fireworks from the Polynesian beach. That's a solid option there. So well done over there.
That is.
Yeah.
We're probably going to do Ohana for a morning character meet and greet during the character breakfast during the vacation. So Kona might be a nice one to tie in with as well.
That's a good one. Yeah, Kona's always good.
Go on.
No, Kona's always a good restaurant. I like the ambiance there. Just walking through the Polynesian just feels good. It feels very Disney. I make it a point to even if I just go to Captain Cook's, you just have to spend some time at the Poly.
Yeah. Well, I'll not take up any more of your time. Have a lovely evening, gentlemen, and thank you very much.
Mohawk, one more thing.
Yeah.
Sorry to see that Scotland went out the Euros after the grief you were giving me on the Discord. Can I count on your support for the rest of the tournament?
Oh, you will. It's to be expected. I don't expect Scotland to do very well in the soccer. I'll be backing England to get as far as they possibly can.
Hey,
bless you.
And let me just say something, Mohawk. I have to personally thank you. You bring so much energy over to the clubhouse, to our Discord channel, and it gives it such a flavor and a flair. And I can't thank you enough for that, because it makes the place fun for me and for all of us. And I don't get to say thank you enough, and I just want to say that right here. So thank you for being a part of the community. Thank you for what you do for all of us. It means a lot to me.
And thanks to you for having us. So thanks, guys.
I appreciate it. Hope you get to see you in the parks and buy you a soda someday. It'd be awesome.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you, guys.
All right. Take care. Have a good night.
Take care, man.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Alrighty, 407-413-9395. You can join the show just like our good friend Mohawk over in Scotland. I love this. Like you guys were talking about your Euros there, and I'm getting ready for football season.
I just popped in out of nowhere, hadn't been in for a while, and he was boom, he was straight on me. He's great though, Mike. Like you're right in the Discord. Mohawk, he's like on every channel in the
Yes,
Discord.
he is.
Dude is everywhere.
And I love it.
I don't know if he needs to be like an admin or something.
Hey, I'd let him. I mean, I don't know. I barely know how that place works. People are always asking me, like, I'm new to the place. How does it work? And I'm like, I don't know.
Ask
like,
Mohawk.
Yeah, seriously. I'm barely hanging on myself. Like, did you hear me on Thursday on the live show? I don't know, dude. I get God all the time. Okay. Kevin's calling in. All right, our friend, we just answered his question. So let's get Kevin in here. He's jumping in here from Ohio. Kevin, what's going on, brother?
Yeah, but how are you guys?
We're doing great, brother. Good to talk
Kevin,
to you.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm trying to understand what you were saying. The answer to my question, but I have you. Can you explain it one more time, please?
Sure, we can explain it one more time. So, with your tickets in the United States, we're kind of describing our differences because there's different tickets for international guests, right? So,
yeah, right.
We're stuck with shorter tickets here in the U.S. So we can only buy 10-day tickets, and you get plus 2 days to use them. So you will get. So if you buy them, you get 2 more days to use them. You basically get 2 kind of buffer days. You get 2 down days within the first day of use. So you have 2 extra days to use them. So you have 2 days in there that you could not go to the parks and just chill. But you have to use them within 12 days if you get a 10-day ticket. If you get a 7-day ticket, you have 9 days. So that's how it works.
Right.
Yeah.
But if I like I said my email, so I basically can't go every other day. Because if I do, I will be wasting a day.
What
I think is that you have 10 days access to the parks with that 10-day ticket. So you have those 10 days no matter what, and you can use them inside of 12. So you could do day 1 to 4, go to the park, day 1 to 4. Have a rest on day 5, you would still have 6 more days to go into the park. So you could do another 4 days, have a rest day, and then another 2 days. So you could split it up however you want. But you definitely can go into the park 10 days out of 12 in any order that you want to.
Correct. Yep, that's right.
Right. Well, like I said, I just would like to hit every park and have a rest day in between.
So you want to go like park? So you want to do like? I see what you're saying, because like you want to do like park rest, like kind of like a pattern. Yeah. See, that's the thing. Like these tickets are not made for that, and it's a shame. I mean, and here's the other thing. Here's where these tickets don't work like they used to as well, because they used to work better for this. Say you're going on a cruise, right? And you want to buy like a 4-day ticket, and you're going on a cruise in between. You know what I'm saying? Like you go to the park for like 2 days and you're going on a 4-day cruise, and then you're going to come back and you want to go to the parks for a couple days after the cruise. It doesn't work because you only get 2 days buffer. So your ticket expires while you're on the cruise. You have to buy a new ticket. There's problems with these tickets, and you've discovered that's 2 of them. Yeah.
I have to say it, but it would almost be it almost would be more convenient to do like a 1-day pass every time you go.
But those are so expensive. The 1-day tickets are super expensive. You don't want to do that. It would be cost prohibitive. You can't.
Right.
Yeah.
What's sort of the cost price difference between a 10-day and a 7-day? Because I'm thinking maybe. Because a 7-day would only give you 9 days, right? Yep. So if you had a 10-day ticket, you could get so many days every other day. Now, you would lose some days at the end, but you could buy an additional ticket. And it just depends whether the combination of 2 different tickets financially is worth the offset of you having those rest days. Does that make sense?
I believe so. I was just thinking because, I don't know if you have time for a trip report, but, I just got back from Disney World last month, and we went for 5 days in a row. I think 4 or 5 days in a row to a park, and it was just, I don't want to say it wasn't worth it, but like, once you get that 4th or 5th day in a row, you're dragging,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, how could I make it so I don't do that again? That's just my main question.
No, I
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, because I understand. I mean, it's got to be rough for you. I mean, it's rough for me, right? And I mean, I
Yeah.
run the marathon
Same.
every year, and it's
Same. But
rough. It's
So
hard.
with that
Oh.
10-day ticket over 12, you will get 6 days with a gap after every day. So with the 10-day ticket, you'll definitely be able to do a day rest, day rest, day rest for 12 days by having one on, one off.
Right, but
And then I think at
Oh,
that point, maybe you work out what the additional is to have the extra couple of days. Maybe, you just at the end, as Mike was saying, you have a couple of days where you go to Disney Springs or a water park, or you do something that's not in the park,
Right.
and do it that way, just to prevent spending way too much on tickets that you're not going to use.
But unfortunately, if I do that, will I be wasting days in the park of my ticket?
You could, but here's the thing: is the days at the end you're talking like when you hit like day 8, 9, and 10, those days in the park are like $5. I'm not kidding. They're like, it's like an additional $5 a day to get into the park when you hit like day 9 and
Really?
day 10. It's ridiculous. I haven't looked at the scale lately, but I'm not kidding. I remember one time when I was still buying Magic Your Way tickets before I had an annual pass.
Yeah.
Here's where Dad screwed up big time, right? We had an ADR on our last day for Cinderella's Roll Table, and I told Mallory, she was all excited. I didn't have enough days on my ticket because I messed up. And so I had to add a day to the ticket, and it was like day 10 on our ticket. And I'm like, oh man, we don't have enough days on our ticket to get into Magic Kingdom. So I had to add day 10 to our ticket. They're like, sir, for the 4 of you, it's going to be $22 to get into the Magic Kingdom for all 4 of you. I'm like, are you kidding me? It's only
What?
$22
Really?
for all 4 of us. They're like, yes,
Wow.
because it's day 10 on a 10-day ticket. I'm like, are you serious? That's all it costs to get in today for all 4 of us? And I mean, this was like years ago. So it's inflation, right? It's more than that now. But I mean, it was ridiculous compared to like what day 1 cost to day 10. I was like, you're kidding me. And so you got to look because they front load these tickets. For a rest day, it might make sense, like Simon's saying, to say, is my rest day worth dropping $10 a day to be able to relax for those days?
This is the thing I was thinking, Mike,
Right.
is you could look at it as you're wasting 4 days out of 10 on a ticket, right? Or you could look at it as you're going to have 6 really productive, amazing days, rather than 4, 5 consecutive busy days and 5 where you're not enjoying it because you're so tired because you haven't had the rest. So for me,
That's a
I would
good
get the
point.
10-day ticket and spread it out over the 12 for sure.
Yeah. That's a good point. Well, I'll look into a 10-day pass. Just like you said, I never thought about, the 8th, 9th, and 10th day being so inexpensive. That's amazing.
Just look at it, Kevin. Just like, and again, Disney makes you crunch the numbers, right? I mean, they really make you work at it, but look at it. Yeah, look at it and say, if I buy a 4-day ticket or if I buy a 10-day ticket, what's the difference in the price? And is it going to be worth it to be able to have that rest? Because you're right. It's brutal to just keep going 4 or 5 days solid. It's hard. It's not enjoyable.
Yeah. Trust me.
No,
yes,
I know.
it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I get it.
It wasn't worth it. It was just bad, bad. It was just bad. Plus, the week I was there, they had record temperatures in Florida.
No, no, you picked a bad week, man. It was smoking hot down there.
Yeah.
I saw it. It was like whenever I saw the map of Florida, it was like a different color. It was a color red I'd never seen. I'm like, ooh, dude,
Right.
it's like I was ready to suck the devil with a pitchfork or something. Like right there
I
in
think
Orlando.
I think it's called that stay-at-home red.
Exactly. I'm like, ooh, man, ooh.
It's funny because my aunt and uncle, who we go down with, they're down there when we were there. They always go in May, and they're like, "Come down in May, come down in early May. It's beautiful." Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it wasn't beautiful.
I don't know what your sense of beauty is, but this ain't it. That's what I told them.
Yeah.
I was like, you're kind of crazy.
Exactly. And the thing is, it was just hot. Like, I started July and August, and it's hot and humid, but this time it was just hot and no humidity because it didn't rain at all the whole week. There was a drizzle the day we got there, but other than that, nothing. And it was just so hot. It was 98 the one day. For high, 98.
No, I got
Yeah.
you. That's St. Louis right now. That's exactly. It's outside the BRGS Podcast Studios window as we speak. It's brutal, and hopefully it'll break before I get to go on my cruise.
And it's always good, Mike.
And I know why you need your break days now, because that's exactly what you've been scarred by the weather. I get it, man. I don't want to go outside.
I'm not doing that again.
No, I get it. Well, Kevin, we got to roll because I want to get a couple more questions in here, but I appreciate it and great discussion though, because it's a great way to talk about the tickets.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, hey, tell
Bye.
Bob when you talk to him, his hair looks great.
Yeah, it always does.
Yes, it does. We'll see you, brother. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Good talking to you, Kevin. Bye.
See ya.
Yeah.
All right. It's my good friend Kevin there out in Ohio. I love it. Great question, though, because you do got to really kind of crunch the numbers of those tickets because they front load them and the back ends are so cheap because they want to keep you on site, right? They want to keep you buying souvenirs, buying food, staying in hotels. It all works out for Disney.
But I also get that sense of FOMO, right? That fear of missing out. Like, it's like, I've got 10 days. I've got to use 10 days. Like, I need to be the part of a 10. I understand that because you pay for the ticket and you feel like you want to get your money's worth out of every penny you're spending, right? But like we're saying, sometimes it's just so important. The rest days are as important as the on days, really.
Yeah, and I mean, Kevin's he's in a chair, and it's demanding, right? And I mean, he was down there in the heat, and I mean, I get where he's making sense. I mean, because I know how hard it is to, you just go, and especially in the summertime with the heat, you have to listen to your body and slow down. And he's trying to make it make sense. And man, it's a great question, and that's for all of us. So, and D Panos over here is talking about fireworks cruise though, back for Mohawk. That'd be a good idea to see fireworks.
That's not something we've ever done, but it's definitely. I'll tell you one thing we did do, and I don't know if they brought it back yet. We did the frozen dessert party. Well, that would have been 2019. It would have been 2019, and that was fantastic. Like, we were just chaining like sweets and beers and cheese and crackers and everything, and then they take you out into like the sort of, because we were upstairs because of the weather, we were upstairs above, maybe not right above the Frozen Ever After ride, but we were in one of those buildings, right? And it's normally a place, I guess, that not many of the public get to go, so it was all set up in there. Then they took us down to the side of the lake and like watch the show, and then everybody who was in that dessert party got took back to the ride, and you were loaded onto the ride to ride it as the last people riding it that day. It was fantastic. I wish they'd bring that back because that was brilliant.
I know where you were because we did a private event for our podcast where we had breakfast up there before the park opened. We called it BOGP Storms Norway. We had breakfast up there. It was like like there were pictures of like the president, like yes, we were up there. We had a big old breakfast up there. All of us like podcast listeners, and then we got to ride. I think Soarin' before the park opened all together.
Okay.
It was wild, man. That was a fun morning. We called it BOGP Storms Norway. That was great. One of our great memories, man. That was a long time ago. It's back when the Maelstrom was still there. Okay, back to the Palo question. Fancy dining on the fantasy because I'll be there in less than 10 days. All right, here we go. Hey, Mike and crew, we're headed out on the fantasy on July 13th, right after you. I promise to leave her in good shape for you. All right, that'll be right after us. I randomly booked Palo's new Prima Notte experience for the first night because our teens will be at the Teens Club, and I've heard some positive things about it. However, I realized we also have Palo brunch booked for the very next day and Palo dinner a few nights later. Is that too much Palo? I mean, is too much Palo even possible? Also, for context, we have our traditional embarkation day champagne tasting booked for 2 people that night as well. I'm sure, I'm for sure keeping brunch, but would love some advice on whether Prima Notte is worth it or too similar to dinner, and which one you'd cancel. If so, we do love wine, but we also like to feel good the next morning. Thanks for any insight and keep doing the awesome job you guys do. Happy sailing, Andrea. So she's going to be on. You know what? I don't even know what this thing is. The Prima Notte experience. I guess it's I know they have a dessert experience in Remy, which is like a 6-course dessert thing. It's a big popular thing. It's people come out of there just stuffed full of desserts, and you can get a wine pairing with it. But this Prima Notte experience in Palo, I'm unsure of this, but apparently I guess it's a wine thing. But I don't know, like, so you've been around these cruise ships, but not Disney cruise, but I mean, Palo to me is the sweet spot. I love Palo. Palo brunch is my best meal of the year. I say this all the time. It's got just great service, awesome food. I love the sticky buns. I love the chicken parmesan. I love lasagna. I love everything at Palo. And then we're doing Palo dinner because the food is so good, but they have this dessert. It's amazing. Not creme brulee. It's what is
like
it?
A tiramisu, or
no? It's a little cake kind of thing. They poke the hole in it and dump the sauce in. Oh, it's not creme brulee. But it's got a fancy name.
No.
It's what's it called? Anyway,
it's like a fondant.
Yeah, but it's so good. But it's amazing. Anyway, there's not enough Palo because this is the only time you can get it. I would say keep all 3. You enjoy it. You booked it.
What I was going to say is, like, how often are you going to be on this cruise ship? That's where I would start with my thinking is, okay, well, if I can get 3 trips in on it, I'm going to take 3 trips in on it, you know? Like, I've got 7 days to make the most of being on this ship. So, yeah, knock yourself out. Keep all 3 reservations.
Yeah, I mean, I would too, because that's exactly it. I mean, you only have this opportunity when you're on the fantasy.
Yeah.
You booked it, so you were interested, and you're, like while in Rome, right? This is your opportunity.
Absolutely.
Take advantage.
Because again, with the FOMO, what if they do something really different at each of the different times of day? You wouldn't want to walk away going, "Oh, no, I missed that," because I would keep all 3 for sure.
Absolutely. Because if you as soon as you cancel it, somebody's going to snarf it up. And then,
and it's gone.
Exactly. And then you're going to be on the ship. Your kids, exactly. Embarkation day. Your kids are going to go off to the club.
And I guarantee you, Mike, it doesn't matter how sweet that dessert tastes on that dinner. You're still going to be thinking, but what happened at lunch?
Yeah, exactly.
What did I miss? What did I miss?
FOMO is real. I mean, you've been saying it. FOMO is so real. And just keep it. And just enjoy. And the thing is, enjoy it while you're there. Be like, we did the right thing. We got this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And oh man, it's going to be, get ready for the fans. I cannot wait. July 6th is ours. We get off on the 13th. That's going to be the saddest day ever.
It's so close, Mike. It's so close.
And to see that Andrea, this is the bad thing. Like July 13th is her happiest day ever. That's my saddest day when we get off that ship. Oh, I hate that day because we go back to the airport and come home. Boo. Okay. Skylander Stories has a question over on Instagram. Is there a viewing spot for Epcot fireworks at Topolino's, or do you just have to get lucky with your table? Wondering if there's a similar setup to California Grill. Yes, they do have, well, at least I think I know that they did. They have like a viewing observation deck because they had a bar up there at Topolino's where you could go out and watch fireworks similar to California Grill. Now, we watched the fireworks from our table when I was there. We had a good table back when I ate with Scott, but I believe that there was like a little bar outside area. Have you eaten at Topolino's?
So no, we haven't, but we have watched various vlogs on it because it's on our list to try. And there is a viewing platform out there because I watched on one of these videos where they were doing a bit of a talk. One of the cast members was on the balcony with the guests doing a talk, pointing out certain, tidbits and information about the resort and what they could see from the balcony. So yeah, there is a balcony up there, probably similar to California Grill. I don't know that you're as close as California Grill is, but
No, you're not. Yeah, you're not that close. But I mean,
but
it's a
you're
good
probably
view.
going to see it still.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a great view. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
because you're still, because I've seen it from the restaurants. And I told
Right.
Scott, I was like, this is what it looks like if you're God looking down into Epcot. Like, I mean, it's like we were watching it. I was like, this is what God sees every night when he wants to see the fireworks view. I mean, it's boom. Like you're looking down into Epcot. It's great. It's a nice view. Because I told him like I wasn't, because it was when I was still a bitter Betty because I love Illuminations. And this
Same.
was when not Luminous. What was the Harmonious, right? I wasn't the biggest fan of
Harmonious.
Harmonious, right? And he loves Harmonious, right?
The controversial one.
Dude, he loves Harmonious, dude. Scott loves. I know he's over in Norway. Dude loves loved Harmonious, and so we're sitting at the table, and I'm like, "Here's your show, man. It's playing." I'm like, "I'll tell you what." I was like, "The show looks a lot better from up here. Like, it's pretty good." I'm like, "I got to give it to you. It looks good from up here." And he's like, "Shut up," Like if I'm like, "God, from up here, like it's a good view," But yeah, so we're joking about that. It does look great from up there. So yeah, but I knew like pre-COVID that was the spot to see it. There was a bar outside and stuff. So okay. And over on Instagram, dpanos04 says, planning a retirement trip for my mom, 7 adults, 3 kids. We want to make this special for everyone, so we have a large budget. Any special events, tours, meals to make this trip extra special. Wow, so big budget.
Wow.
Blow it out. So what would you do if you were in this case to
I mean,
celebrate a retirement?
Where do you start? There's so many great things that you can do, and I suppose it comes down to taste, right? Because I'm guessing there's lots of different age demographics in the group, so you got to think about catering for everybody. So I always think, like, what's the most fancy, expensive thing you can do? It's Victoria and Albert's, right?
Mhm.
That's probably not going to be the thing here, again, because of the demographics. So, that's tough. I think I'd need to know more about who's in the party, though.
Yeah, because I mean, well, obviously V&A is out because kids aren't allowed. I mean, that's
But
18,
this one,
18
so
and up. Yeah.
did she say that? Sorry, that there are kids in the party? Are there?
Yeah, 3 kids, 7 adults. So V&A is excluded. I would start, like you
Okay.
say, you would obviously really want to get more information. I mean, this is super general because that's
Yeah,
all we know.
but-
But yeah,
You got to think, if you haven't done it before, maybe eating in the castle, right?
Mhm.
It's special. You're in there, in the heart of the Magic Kingdom, being treated like royalty. You've got the princesses, the fancy-ish food coming out on the plates. I think that's a good shout for all ages. And, grandma wants to feel like a princess as well. So it sounds like a good shout to me.
yeah, that's a great answer. I mean, you're right. I mean, you're sitting there, and the thing is, here's what I think about. Like it or not, because people have hot takes on eating at Cinderella's Royal Table, right? It's expensive. Some people say the food isn't the greatest. I think you go there for the experience rather than the food. It's an experience because we haven't eaten there for a while, but we have eaten there both with Paige, my oldest, and with Mallory. And they did the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique before, so they got dressed up like princesses, but that's beside the point. But every time we watch a Disney movie, in that introduction comes on where it does the outline of the castle,
It starts with the castle.
it takes us back to the day we ate at Cinderella Castle. Like it's ingrained with us that day
That's
we
it.
got to eat in the castle at Magic Kingdom. And I think it takes you right back to that memory. It's a special thing. I think that's what it does.
Absolutely. I mean, there are so many good options, and once they start digging into it, it comes down to taste, what food they like, what do they want entertainment. But just like you say, for that core memory, for all the ages, I reckon in the castle, if they can swing it, is the one.
Yeah, and Deanna's saying, maybe pair that if you really want to go big with the dessert party, to see the fireworks, then you get the castle meal, then you go see a fireworks dessert party right there, in Tomorrowland or right in the hub.
Start and end the day right. Go for breakfast in the castle and then go for the dessert party in the evening. I don't know.
I mean, that's it right there. That's a great Magic Kingdom day for sure. I mean, I'll go with you. That'd be fun. Sign me up. All right. Well, hey, we're going to wrap this show, but what we're going to do is we're going to come back on Friday and talk a little international travel and just some tips for folks and maybe things people don't know that you got to consider when you come over from the UK. So how about we do that on Friday?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us here on today's show. A little bit different there. We had some phone calls. We had some ticket discussion, and we talked a little fireworks and kinds of stuff. Great show. I love this. So Simon, thanks for coming on, and what a great show. Appreciate it.
Pleasure as always, Mike. Always happy to be here.
All right. Don't forget, we are sponsored by the Magic for Less Travel. We love to help you plan your next Disney adventure. No additional cost to you. Check out all the details right now over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link, beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so very much to our Patreon supporters over at patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. You can support us just $5 a month. And you'll get a bonus show every week. It's called Mike in the Midwest. So coming over this week, patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. You should join us just like Mohawk Scotland. He's the jam. He's awesome. He's over there all the time. We have almost 1,000 listeners over there joining us in the clubhouse. So coming over this week over at beourguestpodcast.com/Discord. Give us a follow on the social media. I'm at beourguestmike on all the socials, Twitter, Instagram, and Threads. And Simon, where can folks follow you on the socials?
So we're on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. We have a channel there where we vlog our family trips and stuff, give tips and that sort of thing. And we are Slowly Does It.
And so spell that out so people can grab it.
SLOWELYDOESIT. Slowly Does It.
All right. So give Simon a follow and check out all his adventures as well. And we'll be back again on Friday. Don't forget, tomorrow we'll have the replay of Sunday night show. And I'm telling you, you're just going to want to check that one out. It's pretty fun. I mean, it's a typical show till we get the prank caller in there. And it's what happens when you open up the phone line sometimes. It's all fun. All right. So we'll be back again on Friday with Simon. We're going to have a good time this week. Everybody else is out of town. So podcast goes on and we have fun. That's what we always do. Over 16 years of shows, we're never going to stop. So for Simon over in the UK, I'm Mike here in Missouri. You guys have a great Wednesday. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon.
You've been listening to the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. If you have questions, comments, or would like to be a guest on the show, please visit our website at beourguestpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you real soon.